Good morning, Miss Madison, and anyone else watching this video. Welcome to, what's the date today, guys? The 29th of November, Wednesday.
Yeah.
We're doing the chapter review today, so I'm going to quickly fly through everything we've done so far for each chapter. I'm just going to give you guys a couple problems. Take out your notebooks, take out your calculadoras, take out something to write with, and we're going to take some notes. We got Froggy with us today. I think the kid's named him Ted. He's currently precariously balanced on my shoulder, probably going to fall off soon. So sorry about it. We've had a few scary contests and he's won every single one. I don't know. I guess I need to practice more, but here we go. 5-1 was ratios and percents. There it goes. Okay. Well, sorry, Froggy. Ratios and percents. This was 5-1. Ratios and percents. So quick reminder on the type of problems that we did. Little handy dandy magnet here. I'll use this as a cheat sheet. So one of the things you're going to see on your test, on your assignment for today, which is in the chapter review, is going to be like converting ratios or fractions to percents. So you might see something that says converts 9/20 to a percent, or convert 3 to 5 to a percent. So does anybody remember how we do that? 9/20?
So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 to 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 5, 9 times 5. That was 45. It's 45%.
It is 45%. Good. So Ragan understood that 20 times 5 is 100, so she did 9 times 5. And then she got 45 over 100. So if you have 3, 2, 5 like this, it's the same thing as a fraction. Just think of it as 3 over 5. Does anyone know what 3/5 is as a percent? Charity? You just have it memorized? If you didn't have it memorized, how would you do it?
So 5 times 5 is 20 is 100. But you could just go 20 and then you go 2, 4, 6.
Yeah. You would multiply 5 times 20 to get 100 on the bottom. Then you have to do the same at the top. And this would be 60%, 45%. So the key here, I shouldn't have wrote them as fractions. That's my fault. I was trying to write them as percents because this you can reduce and this you can reduce. So the key is 60% here and 45% here. Yeah. So you're always looking at the bottom number and you're saying, what can I multiply the bottom number by to get 100? And if 100 is already on the bottom number, then you just take the top number and that's your percent. So if it's 3.5 over 100, it's just 3.5%. Make sense? Okay. Okay, this is also 5-1. Percents to fractions. Percents to fractions. Savannah?
You do 40 over 100.
Good.
Divide in both like 2.
You could.
Or
You-
you could do 4.
You
Or 20.
could. You could do 20. Yeah, 20 would be good. What's 40 divided by 20?
2
Good.
over 10 and you do 1 6.
100 divided by 20?
Oh, that's 5.
5. 2/5. Make sense?
Yeah.
65%. Right.
From 6 to 7. So,
I think 5. Yeah. 100 divided by 5 is 20. 65 divided by 5.
13.
13. Yeah. You're done? Yeah. Make sense? Okay, that's 5-1. 5-2 was percents to decimals and decimals to percents. If you have a percent and you need to convert it to a decimal, do you move it to the left or to the right?
No, not.
If you have 15%, how do you make that into a decimal? 0.15. So which way do you move it? To the left. Yeah. What about if you have 8.2%? 0.082. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Now, vice versa. Decimals to percents. Which way do you move it? Okay, 62. I'm sorry, 0.62. What is that as a percent? Good. 0.4? Right, it's killing. 2.75?
Percent. 275%.
Good. Make sense? Make sure you recognize this for the test because it's pretty easy, I think, if you think of it like, okay, 0.62, that's 62%, 15%, that's 0.15. But if I give you something like this, 0.00053 or 0.0053, and I say this is a decimal, right? This is a percent, then it can be kind of hard, like, okay, what is it as a percent? It's 0.53, right? But it can be a little bit tricky if you get something like this. So now, okay, do I move this to the left and move to the right? I don't know. So if that happens, just think of this, if it's like, make this decimal percent, think of another decimal, like 0.33, and then just know, okay, you need to move this to the right, so you need to move this one to the right. Does that make sense? Okay. Page 220, turn there in your books now, please. You need to write this down on a note card. Because I'll make your life a lot easier. Okay, one more thing I forgot to talk to you guys about for the last lesson was fractions to percents. So if you have 12 over 25, if you have that fraction, how do I turn that into a percent? Charity? Times both by 4. 25 times 4 is 100. What's 12 times 4? 48. So 48 over 100 is 48%. And then 1 over 40. Charity? Kind of hard. You would have to do either 40 into 100, like divide it, or just take your calculator and do 1 divided by 40. What do you get on your calculator?
You get 1.025.
0.025. Hi, buckethead boy. How you doing, buddy? Looking for daddy.
You really want to bring out.
Thank you. All right. How's it going? Hi. You got the froggy? Wow. He's so soft, isn't he? Thank you. I was wondering where he went. He fell off my shoulder. Levi just came to visit, so sorry, Maddie. You be a good bucket boy, okay? High five. Good, love you. Just doing some algebra. Okay. What is 1/40th, Charity? 2.5%, perfect, that sounds right, okay. So if you're on page 220, you should see 25% of 44. What's 25% as a fraction? On page 220? 25% as a fraction. 1/4, thank you, Greg. Okay, so think of this instead of 25% of 44 as 1/4 of 44. And then do 44 divided by 4. What's 44 divided by 4? 11. So 25% of 44 is 11. 10% of 57. For 10%, just move the decimal one spot to the left. Look up here really quick, guys, so Eric's pay attention, thank you. 10% move the decimal one spot to the left. So 57 becomes what? 5.7. 1% move the decimal two places to the left. So 63 becomes 0.63. 12.5% of 64. What's 12.5% as a fraction? Look at page 220 if you don't know.
What's what is that fraction?
12.5%.
It is 1/8.
1/8. So you have, instead of 12.5%, right, this is 1/8 of 64. 64 divided by 8 is 8. Thank you, very good. Okay, and if this had said 3/8 of 64, you would say, well, 1/8 is 8, 2/8 is 16, 3/8 is 24. You guys remember doing this? Yes, we're doing okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And this bucket's really comfortable. You think I could like start a new style?
I doubt it. I mean, you already did that.
Okay, next was estimating percents of numbers. When you're estimating, you can adjust both of these sides if you need to. Your best bet, I think, is page 220 again. Well, I really should just like stand right here for Maddie's sake, and then I'll have to do that next time. Sorry, Maddie, I'm like barely in the frame. 29% of 50. What can you add 29% to, guys? Look at page 220 if you're not sure what 29% is closest to. What's 29% closest to? 30%. Yeah, 30%, which is 3/10. So you get 3/10 of 50. So 29%, we're going to round this to 30%, which is 3/10 of 50. And what's 3/10 of 50? What's 1/10 of 50?
Hold on.
What's 50 divided by 10? 5. So 1/10 is 5, 2/10 is 10, 3/10 is 15. So we know an estimate of 29% of 50 is about 15. Okay, 67% of 93. Look at page 220. What is 67% closest to out of all the percents?
Probably 62.
No, 66 and
2/3.
66 and 2/3, which is 2/3. Yeah. So 67% is closest to 66 and 2/3%, which is 2/3. So you get 2/3 of 93. What's 90 divided by 3? What's 93 divided by 3?
33.
31. 31. So if 1/3 of 93 is 31, what's 2/3 of 93? 62. And so our answer then is 62. Okay, 73% of 81. What's 73% closest to out of all the percents on page 220? No, but you're close. 75. What's 75% as a fraction?
3/4.
3/4. We can't do 3/4 of 81. What do you want around 81 to? 80. So it's going to be 75% of 80 or 3/4 of 80. What's 80 divided by 4? 20. What's 20 times 3? 60. So think 1/4 of 80 is 20, 2/4 is 40, 3/4 is 60. Make sense? Thumbs up, sideways, or down so far? How you doing? Thumbs up, that's good. Okay. So 5-4 and 5-6 are essentially the same thing. We've gone through quite a few of these. It's is equals, of is times, what number is X, what percent is X. And when you're dealing with this, you're always taking the percent and changing it to a decimal. So I'll give you 3 examples. 50 is 10% of what number? Sorry, I said I was going to move over here, didn't I? 50 is 10% of what number? Find 240% of 84. What percent of 90 is 36? No, you'll remember it. You'll be fine. Okay. 50 is 10% of what number? Can anyone tell me how to rewrite that? Yeah, 50 equals 0.10 times X, or 50 equals 0.10X. Right, same thing. What's happening to X? Yeah, what's the opposite of multiplying everything by 0.10? Dividing. So we need to do 50 divided by 0.10. Which is what? That sounds right. So the first one's 500. Can anyone tell me how to rewrite the next one? Dragon.
So X equals 240 times 84.
How do you write 240% as a decimal?
2.40.
Yeah. Yeah. 2.40 times 84. Use your calculator. What do you get when you do 2.4 times 84? Very good. What percent? That's going to be X of 90. That's times 90 equals 36. What's the opposite of multiplying everything by 90? Dividing. So 36 divided by 90. And when you do 36 divided by 90, you get 0.4, and you need to write that as a percent, so it's 40%. Make sense? Easy enough? Okay, 2 more. 5-7, percent of change. The formula you need to know is, this is when the clock almost killed me.
Yeah.
Amount of change over original. That's the formula you need to know. So the book will say sometimes the original is 80. New is 64. Find the percent of change. How much did we change from 80 to 64? First, stop. The original is 80, the new is 64. Is this an increase or a decrease?
Decrease.
It's a decrease. Good. Now, how much did we change from 80 to 64? What's our amount of change? 16. And again, it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, it's just 16. Okay. Don't worry about positive, negative. So 16 over the original. What's the original? 80. 16 over 80. And that's 20%? 20%. Decrease. Does that ring a bell? Okay. And then on the test, you might see something like this. You have a $700 computer, and it has a 30% markup. What's the price? Remember, markup means you add to the price. And another example might be you have a $399 trampoline and it's 15% off. What's the sale price? So let's do the $700 times the 30% markup first. All you have to do is 700 times 0.30. What do you get when you do 700 times 210? Okay, so when you do this, you get $210. And then you add that to the original amount. And you get 910. So the markup price started at $700, now it's $910. Sale price, you do the same thing, but you subtract instead of add at the end. So if you have 15% off of 399, what's 399 times 0.15? $7.878. I might be way off. 59.85. That sounds right. So we do 399 times 0.15. You get 59, Charity. 0.85. Is that what you said? 59.85. Okay. And then you take 399, subtract 59.85. And you get, I think, 339.15. How you guys feeling so far? Feeling okay? You guys are tired. I'm sorry, I must be boring you to death. Almost done. Last one is what we did yesterday. I equals PRT. I is simple interest, P is the principal, the total amount borrowed or invested, R is the rate expressed as a decimal, and T is time expressed in years. So let's say, figure this out for me right now, guys. I invest $250 at 6.5% for 3 years. How much interest am I making over those 3 years? 48.75. Yep, you're just doing 250 times point what? 0.65?
$48.75.
Yep. And then one more. So you're also going to get questions where what's the total amount? So this is what's the simple interest. The total amount, you take this number that you get and you add it to the original amount. So if I say you invest $2,250 at 5.5% interest for 3 years, what's the total amount in your bank account? Go ahead and figure that out for me.
5,596.
No,
5,996.
no, I don't think so. 5.5%. 0.055. Yep. $2,621.25. So you do 2,250 times 0.055 times 3. And when you get that, you get, I don't know, 400 something. And then you just add that number to this number. You good? Okay. That's all. Let's do our chapter reviews. And Maddie or whoever's watching this, it's been fun. Adios.